Everybody, and welcome to our after church tea time. I'm Granville, and I'd like the ladies to introduce themselves, and then we'll take it from there.
Hello, I'm Rachel. I'm a certified Ascension coach.
And I am Hannah. Happy to be here with you guys today.
Awesome. Thank you guys for joining, and thank you to everybody that's joining us for after church tea time today. We are going to share our experiences in relation to the sermon by Lorenzo and Alexandra on how to find the truth on your spiritual journey. So I'm going to open it up to the team and see what stood out for you in the sermon today.
Well, at the beginning, they were talking about the twin flame revealing process. It's a very sacred process, and it's a process in itself. I have a lot of people asking, how do I know if this person is my twin flame? And I always say, well, take the journey and choose for the truth to be revealed to you. And it's okay if it takes a while, but God will reveal whether your person is or not. It's like clearer and clearer in your heart. And yeah, they said this when they came into harmonious union, as did everybody else who has. It was always there. It was just a process of revealing it, uncovering it, lifting back the veil, removing the blocks, so you can see it clearly, because when you can see yourself clearly, you can see your twin flame clearly. And when you can happily be with all of yourself, you can be with your twin flame, because there might be a part of you where it's uncomfortable to be with yourself. And so that's why you're not with your twin flame, because if it's uncomfortable to be with yourself, it will be uncomfortable to be with them. And so it's a process of just going to these uncomfortable places, really feeling your feelings there and bringing love there. It's not hard, it's not difficult, it shouldn't be tiring. If it's draining you, it's not God. You don't have to do God's job for him. It's God's job to bring you your twin flame when you're ready. All you have to do is feel your feelings, love yourself, and those are the steps that will take you all the way into union and beyond.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Really, off of that, something that stood out to me at the very beginning was the card reading, where she had mentioned the desire for your twin flame is the same as like as the feeling of being hungry or being cold, and how like that's a real true desire and feeling, and it's tangible. And so because you have this desire, it's in your heart for a reason, just like hunger is there for a reason, so that you feed yourself, and cold is so that you bundle up, things like that. It's like, it's just really stood out to me, this logical process of it, and that when you're hungry, you're going to get fed. And we're all fortunate enough that is the case. And so it's the same thing with your twin flame. When you have that desire for them, it is guaranteed, and like the harmonious union is guaranteed. It's just us really remembering it. I love what you said about that, Rachel, and what they had talked about in the sermon, of how it's a remembering process. And they really broke down, it's not reinventing the wheel or rediscovering or inventing love. It's it's healing all the blocks that we've put up to love. And that really stuck with me, and really stood out to my heart, because like when you're a child, you have really no barriers yet to love. It's every day you're excited to wake up and you're joyful and happy, and it's new and blissful. And then we start to put up these barriers and these blocks to it. And as adults now, it's really just a process of getting back to that childlike state as an adult, and as a grown, mature being, but still having that and releasing all of the illusions that we've collected along the way, which I really could relate to a lot. and enjoyed that part.
Yeah, I think I appreciated that as well. And the thing that really just stood out for me was, I think, probably closer to the end of the sermon, where, as Alexandra was sharing, was the part around, if you're seeking love outside of yourself, there's a place inside yourself, and there's places inside yourself where there's not love. And, you know, we know it, and we've learned it as a process through our healing and through our journey. And it's just nice to be reminded to go and find what's actually not true in those places. Because I think sometimes we tend to feel like something is us, or something is an intrinsic part of us. And so it feels very unloving to let go of the supposedly intrinsic part of ourselves. And technically, that's probably the part that's not the truth about ourselves. And so it's like this constant internal battle of playing these parts up against each other that starts to actually make the peace not peace. And we feel like we're sitting in peace, but really at the core of it, it's not complete peace. So it was nice for Neelam just to kind of wrap it up and go, actually, the half-truth or the not truth cannot lead to full peace. Only full love and full truth can lead to full peace. And so I think that just summed it up nicely in bringing the thought process together. And we know, like, you know, if there's a misaligned connection, when you're trying to put electricity on, it's not going to work. The kind of plug points need to completely align. And so it's nice to just put it in the perspective of what's our reality, like what's physical. Like we know these physical concepts that things need to properly align. And so we can apply that to ourselves and to our spiritual journey. You know, and it's those little transferable skills that we learn along the way that we can take into a different direction. So actually, if I looked at it practically, it would make sense in this way, because it makes sense in this way in physical reality. So in spiritual reality, it would make sense in this way. And that's why we can see where things are out of alignment, because there isn't a feeling of completion. So it was just nice to get that thread just again, almost a reminder of that thread, of the things that we know and sometimes tend to let go of, but that are actually very practical and very real in our lives, and that we completely understand.
Yeah, I love that. There's a lot there. There was another thing that I got from the sermon, where related to what you just said, where you may believe you're peaceful, but if your reality isn't showing you what you desire, then you're not peaceful somewhere. And yeah, they say you should do the mirror exercise when you're upset. You don't need to do it when you're not upset, but just be a little bit careful there, because at the beginning of my journey, I was like, oh yeah, I don't need to do it. I'm not upset. I'm all right. But the truth was, I was numbed out to the upsets. Like, of course, I was upset. It's like depression. It's a pain that we've learned to live with, and so we get used to it, and we don't know it's there anymore. But if your reality isn't perfect, if it isn't showing you exactly what you desire, then there's some work to do there. So yeah, so I got into doing the mirror exercise regularly since then, and it's similar to a Buddhist practice that I used to do, a practice of going to refuge.
Give me a sec, I just need to close the window. I will be back.
Scared me there. Yeah, it's a practice of going for refuge, where you go for refuge from suffering to the enlightened beings. And yeah, but the book said that you don't just go for refuge when you're in trouble or when you feel you need it, because otherwise you won't be able to receive help and support immediately. You do it as a regular practice, and then you receive help as and when you need it. It's like the same as praying, like only going to God when you're in trouble or when you need something or when you want something. That's not having proper relationship with God. It has to be a daily practice, a regular practice. So it weaves into the fabric of your life. And if you're doing that, then your twin flame won't have to suddenly mirror something really painful to make you get your ass in gear. Because I mean, being triggered is being loved, but you don't have to be painfully triggered if you regularly feel your feelings every day.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And with this, it speaks to the point of, you know, humility that they had mentioned, and to really humble yourself and to yeah, like they, you know how definitely say, like, there's always something to heal until you can manifest a pot of gold, like out of thin air. And what you just said really spoke to that, and to understanding that, like, even if you are, you know, feeling peaceful, there is, you know, likely a deeper layer to always uncover, and like it's safe to do that and to do the inner work, you know, daily and effectively, and, you know, to completion, and to not, you know, accept what's good enough. And I'm definitely speaking to myself right now, you know, as much as everyone here and all of us, the unionists. But yeah, that's something I'm definitely working through right now, is to not be in that good enough mindset, but fully go in all the way to the end, of like above and beyond, and heal it completely. And yeah, I feel like this is a big piece for me. And as I'm walking this path and learning this, I've gone through phases with the mirror exercise, and where I'm doing it every single day and writing it down for a certain amount of time, to then, you know, being more fluid with it and only writing it down when I feel I really need to. And I feel like it's really a journey of finding your own flow with it, finding your flow with the inner work, and not having to have it look like something super specific that you feel maybe in your mind. Like, and I feel like as I kind of release how it looks like on the outside, I'm like finding deeper peace and finding deeper levels of it with the inner work, which is nice. And yeah, I feel like what they were speaking to about, you know, being attached, that kind of speaks to being attached to your twin flame. Like, you don't have to be attached to how the work looks. You also don't have to be attached to who your twin flame is. And that's really what I found, like when I was first starting this journey, having zero attachments to who, you know, my man was a big key for me. Like, I did not care. I was just like, I know God will bring him to me in the way God brings him to me. And it really, not having attachments there is really what I think allowed for us to recognize each other, and yeah, to begin doing the work together. But yeah.
Awesome, I love that. And you know, and I do also agree with you that you know, and it's something that came through in the sermon, was the sense that in seeking the truth, you kind of need to be quite diligent. You kind of need to be almost literally, and it's probably something that you would, you know, you would say like a dog with a bone. You're kind of very persistent all the time. And I think that that's probably been the biggest part of my life. It's just, and you know, it's something that's always been top of mind. It's like the truth. There has to be truth. Like if there's no truth for me, there's no relationship. And so I appreciate that Lorenzo and Alexandra just kind of honed back on it, to say, you know, be diligent about seeking the truth, because actually the truth is what allows you to actually relax. When you know the truth and you have the truth, you can actually relax about certain things because you're no longer seeking. You found the truth in that space, and so you can continue to find the truth in other spaces. And I think that's probably been the biggest part of my journey, is kind of always battling the lies around me and going like, just, you know what, I'm grown up, give me the truth, you give me the truth, I can choose how I deal with it. And so I think that's been a very core thing for me, is let's be honest, let's just be honest, let's always just be honest. And having said that, that was always something that I probably projected a lot more outwardly than actually focused on a lot more inwardly. So this journey and the healing has literally brought me back to focusing on the truth on the inside, the truth about me, the truth about how I'm feeling, the truth about the things that I probably wasn't prepared to verbalize to myself, probably anybody else for that matter. But also, you know, there's those things where that you feel like you can't say to other people, but you also don't say it to yourself. And so it's always just like the full journey has always just brought me back to the center of everything around you is a mirror. And that illusion or contrast that you're experiencing is because somewhere in you there's this foothold for it. And that's why you're experiencing it. And that has been my journey. It's literally just unpacking all those footholds and bringing love there. And then that's been getting to the core of really understanding the mirror exercise and really completing it properly. So I agree with you, Hannah. It does take it takes effort to master at which points you go very deep with your healing, whereas sometimes you can very easily heal through the mirror exercise without writing it down. So it has been a journey of just even learning how that healing works through the mirror exercise and really getting comfortable with the truth of it, the truth of what the mirror exercise actually does.
Yeah, well, I must confess. Yeah, why is everything that you say always so helpful? But
because we're having a conversation.
yeah, but I must confess, I am writing the mirror exercise down at the moment at least twice a day, because for quite a long time I was actually very lazy or resistant towards doing that. So I'm being really diligent now. But the truth versus illusion, the truth will always feel unequivocally good, peaceful, and relieving. If you got that little voice that's saying you can't have it, you're not good enough, does that voice feel good or bad? Well, it's going to feel bad. So it's not going to be the voice of God that's saying that to you. That's the illusion. That's the ego. So you can let that go. I believe Alex and Lau was saying, like, don't try and reason with it. No, you don't reason with ego because you're giving it energy, and don't try to understand it either, because understanding it implies that there's something to appreciate, and there's nothing. Just recognize it and send it on its way. Yeah, also, they were talking about the false comfort of escaping from one illusion into another. And they used the example of not being with the twin flame and so settling for a soulmate. and trying to make them your twin flame. It was certainly, for me, it was many years ago now. I had a twin flame person that left, and so I ended up in a rebound relationship, and I ran myself into the ground to try and make this person my twin flame, even though I knew they weren't. And it was driven from the start. I should never have been with them in the first place. So I don't recommend trying that. I mean, when you've got to maintain 2 or 3 major habits just to put up with them, it's probably not going to work. And the other thing that Jeff said once, if you settle for what is pleasant, you'll never have what is good. So you want to choose your heart's desires, choose the life that you really, really want, and say no to everything that's not that. And if it's not forthcoming, there's more work to do. So just get down to it. I think they said as well, and then a bit further down the line, you've moved through something, and then perhaps a deeper block comes up, and that's okay too. Just work through that one as well, as many times as you need to. There'll come a point where union won't be able to stay away. I was saying you will receive it sooner or later. You can't postpone it together. You can't put it off indefinitely, especially if you're choosing it. So if you're not there yet, just keep claiming your union, keep choosing it, keep choosing love in every moment. Choose your relationship with God. Choose your relationship with yourself. Very important. So ultimately, it's not even about the twin flame. It's about your relationship with yourself and God.
I just want to tell you, Francine said, Rachel, what you say is also very helpful. And I was just like, actually, we just mirror each other all the time. All of us just mirror each other all the time. We're all helpful to each other because that's what we're calling in.
Thank you, Francine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was great. And I agree. It is really, it is, your twin flame is your reflection of your relationship with God. And as you get clearer and clearer on your relationship with God, your twin flame is naturally going to align with you in that space. And when you were speaking, I also was thinking, we live in a society today where every relationship is pretending to be a twin flame relationship, give or take, like celebrities and, all of these people are really, trying their hardest to pretend and to show the world like they're in a twin flame relationship. And so it's okay. And, it's safe to have compassion for yourself and to, really embrace the journey of revealing, allowing God to reveal it to you. Because really it's unprecedented. Besides this work of Jeff and Shaleia and the unions we have here, it's really, there's no other blueprint for it. And so as you learn the teachings of union and master the mirror exercise, it's really an inevitable state where the truth comes into being and the illusion falls away. I was in a relationship in the past with a soulmate where I was really, there was like this inner knowing that he was not my twin flame. Like before I even had words to put there, it was just this really, I just knew in my head, it was like, I knew I wasn't going to marry him, but I tried so hard to, make this work and, plan out our life and engagement and trying to force all these things into place. And, it crashed and burned, of course, but as soon as it ended, really, it was like I was snapped into like a new reality instantly. And it was really incredible. Like I went from this person to being like, oh wait, this is who I am. I remember now. And then I was on my path of, spiritual journey and finding the teachings of union and everything. But, we're all just learning these lessons at our own pace. And I can see clearly now how I wasn't yet able to trust myself at the time, prior to that relationship ending, where I could trust my internal compass and trust what I was, that little nudge that I had on the inside of, he's not the one, he's not the one. But eventually, I was, and yeah. And I feel like, it's really all okay. Like false twin flame experiences, they're all okay. Soulmate relationship, it's okay. It's only bringing you closer and closer to your twin flame and to your truth. And it's allowing you to like dissolve that illusion. And, Shaleia had said in the past with her false twin flame experience, how it really like just catapulted her journey, and is what allowed her to, come into union so quickly afterwards with Jeff. I'm paraphrasing obviously, but something along those lines. And yeah, just as long as our intentions are pure and we're choosing love, like the only result is love at the end of the day.
Love that you mentioned that, because I think something that also stands out, and it's comes through quite a few times in coaching sessions and things like that, is, like we have these experiences and we start to believe that the love was wasted because that's not your twin flame. And something that actually stood out for me in one of my coaching sessions with Lisi was, love is never wasted. And I think that's what we need to remember, that it's never wasted. So we might have resonated with a part of that person that was reflecting our twin flame to us at the time, and we were loving our twin flame in that way because that was the closest way to literally give the love at that point. And I think that's kind of something that we probably need to take into our reality, is that love is not wasted. Because technically what you're doing is loving God as you love that person. So that love is never wasted, and we can let ourselves off the hook for some of those things. Because I feel like sometimes we just keep ourselves stuck in this cycle of, oh, it was wrong, it was wrong, it was wrong, it was wrong. And the fact of the matter is, at that point, it was right. That's what we knew. And so it was right. We know more now, and so we do it differently. We choose to show up differently. We choose to love in a different way, in a better way. But at that point, that's what we knew, and that's how we knew to do it. And so it's okay for us to actually allow ourselves to relax into the fact that, yes, that might not have been my true twin flame, but the love was never wasted.
Yeah, very, very true. Yeah, I think there was another piece that Alex and Laura were talking about, how, what was it, being afraid or not wanting to go into these certain places within, being afraid to face these parts of yourself or something like that. This is a pretty common block, because you're afraid of what you're going to find. But the truth is, there's not going to be any scary surprises or nasty surprises. There won't be any new feelings there. There'll be the same kind of feelings that you've been having all along. You kind of already know what's going to be there, and none of it's going to hurt you. It might be a little bit uncomfortable, but Jeff said to me recently, just be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's the mechanic, diving into the uncomfortable feelings. These are the places within ourselves that we run from, the places within ourselves where it's uncomfortable to be with ourselves, so we don't want to be with ourselves. And then that's what keeps the union away. So that's the place you don't want to go. That's the exact place that you want to go. And sometimes all it needs is your presence, loving presence and compassion. Just sit with your feelings for as long as you need to. And as you do that, you're affirming that it's not okay to be walking around with bad feelings in you, even if you are trying to ignore them. Just sit with them, persistence, and they will eventually dissolve into peace. Doesn't matter how many layers they got, or how long it takes, or how deep it is for you. Obviously, it's going to be different for everyone. So whatever is in front of you will fall to your persistence. One of the 8 keys, I believe.
Yeah, amen. And like that really talks about like the fact that like all of these bad feelings are just an illusion. And like you said, like we just need to bring our presence there and our light there, like our love, and that's what allows them to really dissolve. And yeah, I feel like it's so well talked about in so many different movies and legends and things of just like how, you know, fears are, they seem so much bigger than what they actually are. They feel like a mountain and they're just like a little pebble, like a little grain of sand. And yeah, like by not looking at them, you know, they feel so much bigger than when you look at them and they go away and dissolves. And I think that's really what they were talking about a lot in this sermon, is like the truth is what is always going to overpower the illusion. And I remember Alexandra said something like about how when you're seeking love outside of yourself, that brings hatred or something like that. And she looked at herself and was like, oh, I'm not a hateful person. I'm not, you know, a hateful person. I don't choose to hate. And yeah, that brought me just a lot of peace and relief to just realize, you know, like I am not a hateful person. I am a loving person, and I choose to love myself first and to love myself from the inside out, and, you know, let go of any patterns of seeking externally and, you know, having expectations on my twin flame or, you know, on love and how it shows up in my life, because that's not loving towards myself. And, you know, I've definitely healed through a lot of that this week. And I can tell you, I feel so much more grounded and peaceful, and, you know, went from, you know, having all these expectations and things in my mind, and worked through a lot of this in my coaching session this week, and just realized it was all me, of course. And yep. And yeah, it feels just so much better to let go and to, you know, stop that controlling pattern. And like, you know and I trust that it's only going to continue to get easier and easier. And like once you begin to feel and experience the effects of the mirror exercise or of healing a pattern or a block or something, it's like you'll never want to go back there, because, you know, it's like once it's overcome, once the fear is overcome and the illusion's gone, like my coach said something to me a little while ago about how the past bad experiences I've had were just a bad dream. And now I've woken up and it's like, this is my reality now. And like, whatever you may be experiencing that's part of the illusion, it's just a bad dream. And once you overcome it, like in any bad dream, you wake up and you're like, oh, wow, this is my life. It's not that crazy, terrible dream I was just having. And yeah, I think that's what the illusion is to show us how powerful we are, and that we can wake ourselves up to the truth of love and our own divinity.
I love that. And I have to agree with you. I was like, also, this week was one of those weeks where I was like, what have I been doing? Like, I've been putting all of this in somebody else's hands and in their pocket and expecting them to give it to me when I could have very easily given it to myself at any time. I was like, what were you doing? What have you been doing? You know, when you just have that, when you have that realization, like, no, let's not do that again. So it's like, it's like what you're saying about waking up from that bad dream and going, okay, no, we're not doing that again. Cool. Just checking in with both of you. How are you feeling? It feels pretty much complete to me.
Yeah, we could probably keep on talking about this subject till we're blue in the face, but I'm feeling complete.
Yeah, it feels very good. It feels complete to me too.
Perfect. Awesome. So thank you both for today's conversation. Thank you to everybody that has followed us. To anybody that hasn't yet, please also feel free to like and subscribe to our Church of Union YouTube channel, where you'll find all our previous sermons and any other live content that has taken place in the Unionism Spiritual Discussion Group on Facebook. And we look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.